It's Christmas. Flipper, turn that hallway light off. Very good. Flipper, turn the Christmas tree on. Yay! Flipper, ring the doorbell. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to look at some X-10 devices and how to get a Flipper Zero to control X-10. A lot of you may have these X-10 devices. They were quite popular way back when. I bought this one back in the 1990s, and you can barely see the clock on it because it's so old. However, I don't really care about the clock. The device works very well. And what I typically use this for is at Christmas. I like to use it to control all the Christmas lights and the Christmas tree all around my house. And for those of you that don't know what X-10 is, well, it is a system that transmits commands through the power lines. And it does that when the AC cycle is at the zero crossing, which actually means there's no power on the power line at the zero crossing. And it's a clear time and path to send radio signals. It's usually around 100 kilohertz into the power lines, and these devices known as modules. This X-10 Pro module, this is an appliance module. It strictly switches off and on, and it can handle up to 15 amps. This is what I actually use, and I have a bunch of these that I've been using for years actually, and they still work great. And I will demonstrate here the basics. You just plug that in anywhere in your house, and it is on number 4. So if I push 4, it turns on, and if I push off on 4. So there you go. Now, how are we going to get Flipper Zero to control this? Well, stick around, guys. I'm going to show you how. Okay, guys, you're probably wondering, how do I propose to control X-10, which is a closed-circuit system, with the radio remote? Well, we're going to make an interface, and we're going to actually use this Radio Shack transmitter, X-10 transmitter. We are going to wire off of those buttons, and there is 4 of them. It says 1 through 4, and then 5 through 8. That depends on this switch, selector switch. I'm only interested in controlling 4, so we're actually going to be using 1 through 4. And yeah, so those buttons have 2 states, on and off. So underneath there, the rocker switch, there is 2 contacts, 1 for the on, 1 for the off. We are going to wire from internally. We're going to take this guy apart, and we are going to run wiring over to this radio receiver and relay board. And I purchased this with this remote control off of Amazon for about $35. It was not very expensive. It operates on 315 megahertz, and it works quite well. And it uses Princeton coding, so Flipper is compatible with this. And I'm just going to demonstrate right now. I have that LED there on number 1, and when I push that, you can see the light comes on. So, and that is the first relay right there, right here, this relay here. And these relays are normally open and normally closed state. They have the terminals here. You have the choice of both, depending on what you're connecting to. We will be using the normally open state because we are closing the contact when we do that. And it would be the same thing as if I was doing that once I get it hooked up. Once we wire in, as simple as that. And then I'll be able to tuck this away down in my basement with that connected to it and simply use this upstairs to control all my Christmas lights. Or I could actually use the Flipper Zero, and let's do that right now. We'll go into sub-gigahertz, and we'll go read, and I will press, and there Flipper captured that. So Flipper can now also control that button function as well. See, there you go. And there is actually the code, the key that it captured from that remote. And it's as simple as that. So the flipper can also control my lights too. So I am now going to take this guy apart. We're going to take a look inside and see how to wire out of it to our relay board. And the relay board needs 12 volts as well, which is coming through this wire here. I'm hoping we can find a 12 volt source inside this device to power it. If not, if it's a higher voltage, maybe we can just put a voltage regulator on there to drop the voltage down to 12 volts, because it would be nice if it's all self-contained and powered off with just the one device here. Okay guys, let's get to work and rip this guy apart and see what magic we can make and get Flipper helping out here. Okay, well I've got her apart here, and there's the power transformer. You can see it's a center tap transformer. There's the power supply over there. I can see a couple rectifier diodes and that big capacitor, which is going to be its DC voltage. We're going to put a meter on that and see exactly what voltage we have. Now, this is the interesting part right here. There's your power line coming in, and the black and white is the power going to the transformer. And those three wires are the signal that is being injected into the power line. Yeah, this little device here, it's probably some capacitors. It's probably capacitively coupled to the power line. And other than that, there's the back of our board with the push buttons on it. I do see some diodes there, so it's probably a diode matrix. However, we will just wire, I think, across each switch individually. Instead of trying to figure out the diode matrix, it's simpler just to do that. And we'll probably just drill a hole right here and bring our wires out through there. And yeah, and tap into the power. So let's get the meter out and take a power reading. Okay, I got the meter connected, and we're tapping its power right now. And it appears to be 19 volts. So we're going to have to put a voltage regulator on that and bring it down, because this specifies 12 volts DC, and those relays are all 12 volts as well. So we need 12 volts, but that shouldn't be hard to do. We'll just get a little regulator board and put that on here. Should be pretty easy. Okay guys, let's get to work. Okay, I got the circuit board pulled out. Now this is where things get a little bit crazy. I'm seeing like 3 lines going down in there for each button. Which one is which? Probably one of them's looping around through, and the other one is the actual circuit. So the only way to find out, I'm just gonna have to peel that tape back and take those little covers off, those metal covers, see how it's wired behind there. Okay, let's try that. Okay, I'm amazed that that tape is so pliable, because it's probably from 1991, but it peeled off very easily. Still lots of stickiness on it. It did not leave any stickiness behind on the board. It was obviously a quality piece of tape, probably made by 3M. So under a closer examination, we can see here that this button and the button below it are commoned up. We can also see it's the same across. So those are the columns, and there is a row. The rows are, you can see here, runs down and around there and back. So the rows and columns, it is a matrix. So a total of 6 wires is all that's needed to control those 8 functions. So that's what we're going to wire off of. I will wire off of up here. It's just going to make things easier, but yeah, that's the only way to figure this out, was to pull that tape off and expose the contacts and see how it's wired up. But just like I thought, it is a matrix. Okay, stand by guys. Okay, so I've tapped into the necessary connections. I traced them all out when I had that tape up, and I made a little wiring schematic over here of the matrix. You can see on and off. And it's the yellow wire with the blue stripe. is my common on wire. The blue with the yellow mark on it is the off, and we have the purple blue, the blue purple, the yellow gray, and the gray yellow, and that's what these wires here are. So I'm gonna start to put it back together again, and we'll start testing it out. We're also gonna tap that 20 volts inside there and bring that out and run it through a voltage regulator, and should work. We'll see. Okay, so we are in the process right now of putting this puppy back together again, and there's my control wiring coming up around there, and it's just going to come conveniently out the back with the power cord, and I've tapped into the 19 volts here and here. We're going to run this out to a power regulator. So this is our power, the orange and black, and all we got to do now is just put her back together again, and we'll start doing a little bit of testing and see how she works. Okay, she's all back together again, and there's all my wires coming out the back. And as we remember, that light was being controlled by number 4 on here. This button here, on and off. So if I go over to my diagram here, number 4, if I take the yellow and the blue, that is yellow is on, blue is off, and number 4 is represented by the gray yellow wire. So we go over here, this is the gray yellow, and here is the blue with yellow, and the yellow and the blue. So these 3 wires are the 3 wires I need. I will wire those over to that controller, to number 1 and 2, and let's see what happens, guys. Will it control the light? And will Flipper be able to control it too? Hold on, I'm just gonna connect those wires to the relay board and we should be all set. Okay guys, the moment of truth. I have wired up the 4th switch, these 3 wires to relay number 1 and 2, and let's plug it in and see what happens. Okay, that's good, nothing smoked. Let's check the, yeah, it's getting power. Okay, here, the moment of truth. Let's push this button and see what happens. Yeah, okay. And it works. Bit of a delay, but that makes sense because it's relaying it. But hey, it works. Excellent. So now I'm just going to connect up the other wires. So I have control over all 4 of these relays on the X-10 system. Excellent. And of course, we can still do it from here if we need to. And yeah, there you go, guys. Wow, that's really great. And not only that, Flipper can also do it. Yeah, okay, Flipper. Excellent. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this up and install it. We'll put it down in my basement and we'll start controlling the Christmas lights around my house and using that remote or Flipper from anywhere. This is really great, guys. I'm really excited. It's kind of cool being able to just come up with ideas like this and, you know, play around with it, implement it, put it together. I'm kind of an integrator, so I like doing stuff like this, taking technologies and kind of combining them. X-10 was always a pretty cool technology. I always liked it. It does work well. It's always worked well for me. And now to have this ability to control it by remote control and with Flipper is even better. Okay, guys. Okay, things have been coming along very nicely. I now have, as you can see, all the wiring done to the relay board, and it is wired up in the matrix style. So all we got left is the orange and black is 18 volts coming off of that clock's power supply, and we are going to run it through. This is a linear little power regulator. It is an LM317 variable voltage regulator. So that is the output, and I need to adjust that little screw there for 12 volts. Let's take a look first at the voltage we currently have, and I will show you on the meter here. Get those on there. Yeah, we have 18.5 volts coming in, and we're going to now adjust that screw. Okay, guys, stand by. Okay, so I've wired to the output. The orange and black is now going, the output orange and black is going to my meter leads so you guys can see it is 17.3 volts. And I'm going to put a screwdriver on here and we're going to start turning this little screw here. And we want to adjust this to 12 volts. There it goes. Voltage is dropping. We're getting close. There we are, up a little bit. That should do the trick right there. Let's leave it at that. That's pretty good. This is a linear power regulator, so it produces a bit of heat, but the current is not going to be very much because these relays are momentary. So the relays do pull a bit of current when they're on, but it's very momentary. So should be good. It's actually good that we are dropping the voltage off the clock through the regulator. That'll put less of a strain on the power supply in the radio. And again, standby current's very low on this, and we will. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to have to stop to take. Okay, I think I can do it with one hand. This is nail polish, and yeah, you can always steal it from your wife or your girlfriend, but this is what we do in the labs. Once you calibrate something, you put some nail polish on it. Let me get it all around that screw. Okay, now it does two things. It's going to keep that screw from turning, and the other thing, it's nice and red, so it's indicating to us that this board has now been calibrated. So there you go. Okay guys, now I'm just going to connect that to the relay board, and let's try to see if we can control the Christmas lights now. Okay, so we are all wired up, and you can see the red lights on. It is getting power, and yeah, so let's go down here and take a look at the Christmas tree and the remote control. Yay, it works. I can turn it off, turn it on. Perfect. You can see in the back there's the X-10 module. And yeah, so I can also control, if I go out here, see my lights outside. You can see the reflection on my Christmas tree. I'm going to go outside and do this to show you guys better, but if I do that, yeah, there they are. Okay, so I can turn off my Christmas tree and I can turn on the outside lights. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to go outside now, and we are going to, yay! That is so cool. I like that. Very helpful. Very good. Now we get Flipper to control it too. Okay guys, so there it is, the finished product. I put the cover on the relay radio board, and yeah, it's got its own nice little case. And the power supply runs really cool. It's only dropping the voltage about 7 volts. I added an additional capacitor on the output just to help smooth things out when those relays kick in, and works great. Okay, let's go outside and play with it a little bit with my Christmas lights. Stand by. Flipper, turn on the Christmas lights. Yay! Flipper, turn on the Christmas tree in the house. Yeah. Okay, so I'm out in the backyard and I got Flipper here, and Flipper is about to do something here. Okay, Flipper, send your code. Yay! Now Flipper's going to do something else here. It's going to make the lights go crazy. pretty cool.